Selling a digital product online is not as hard as you might think. And honestly, like I said, anybody can do this. You don't need a degree in coding. You don't need really any education at all. This is something that anybody with a laptop and an internet connection can do from anywhere in the world, which is pretty exciting. There's actually never been a better time to start a digital product business than now. It's just so many tools available to help you get started and so many customers online who are looking to make their lives easier by buying one of your products. And to be clear, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. If you want that, go buy a lottery ticket or some crypto meme coin. This is going to be a business that if you put the effort in, if you listen to everything I talk about in this video, and you really dedicate yourself to this, I mean, really like maybe 10 hours a week, maybe 1 hour a week, maybe 40 hours a week, depending on how much time you have. But if you actually do that, you set goals and you do that for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, you can be wildly successful. And now we can move on to the next step of how you're actually going to be selling your product. So there are really two main routes you can go. One, as you can see right here, is on Etsy. And the benefit of being on Etsy, there are downsides I'll mention in a second, but the benefit is that you already have a huge network of possible customers that are searching on Etsy, and you have that algorithm to direct them to you. As long as you have a better product, you have the right SEO, search engine optimization, that is, meaning the right tags, the right keywords, and you have good images and you overall have a good setup, you can organically market your product without having to spend extra money. The downside is going to be in those fees. Etsy is not really unconventional. They're not wildly high compared to Amazon and eBay and others, but it is going to be significantly higher than if you sold it on your own website. So the second option is to sell on your own website. I usually recommend doing both, having it on Etsy and having it on your own website. The benefit of your own website is going to be if you're selling in person, if you're selling maybe in like a craft fair, something like that, you can do that. But even more than that, you can run ads online on TikTok. You can have it set up in TikTok Shop. You can have it set up in Instagram and Meta and all these other platforms out there. You can connect very easily to your online store, which you can customize and also have significantly lower fees than you would on Etsy. I'm going to start off by making our own website. I think that's a little bit trickier, but very valuable in my opinion. This is something that gives you a lot of versatility to connect to other platforms where you have a lot of opportunity to sell on, like TikTok, for example, Instagram, all those other platforms like I mentioned. And also it's very affordable, it's extremely customizable, and it works well for a variety of products. But we're going to start off just doing the digital products here. So we have an affiliate link with Hostinger. That's one of the ways you can host WordPress. If you go through our affiliate link, you get a really good deal. I'll give you another 10% off in a second, and you get an additional 3 months for free. So you don't have to go through our link, but it saves you money if you do, and it supports the channel, obviously at no extra cost to you. So on the top, you should see services. We can then go down to managed hosting for WordPress and click on that. It's $2.99 per month with 3 months for free, and also a better deal I'll show you in a second. So let's click on claim deal. And out of all of these, you can really just go with the basic one. So choose plan, and we could do it for 48 months, which you're going to see is $2.99 per month. If you do the full 4 years, I recommend doing a minimum of 12 months because check this out. If you do 1 month, it's $12 a month plus a $5 setup fee. Plus you don't get a free domain for the first year. So you end up spending a really similar amount of money when you get 12 months versus 1 month. I recommend doing that. Additionally, you'll notice the renewal rate is different for each of these. So if you do 48 months, it renews at $8 a month. And if you do 12 months, it renews at $11 per month. So I'm going to go with 48 months. And on the right, we can say have a coupon code, type in Santrell10, click apply. This will give you an additional 10% off. Another benefit of getting 48 months up front, the 10% applies to all 48 months. And you're looking at $129.17 for 4 years of hosting your website. Like I said, it's a pretty affordable way to host a website compared to many other platforms out there. So let's say continue. Now we can enter our email address and password and say register. So sometimes Hostinger changes how this onboarding process looks. Just click through pretty much everything. You can skip whenever you see the option to skip because we're going to get to the dashboard in a second and customize everything on our own. But you should see a page that says you need a WordPress admin and password. This is different from your Hostinger login and password. This is really what you're going to be using to sign into your website in the future. You could use the same email and password if you wanted to. I use a different one usually. So let's say next. Now they give us some options to use an AI-built website or a pre-built theme website. You can choose either one. I'm going to create a blank site though, and we'll install our own theme later, our own template that I think works best for what we're trying to do. Now we can get a domain right here. Now, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself too much and make it the name of just your product. So try to come up with a generic brand name that makes sense, but might not be, super, super niche for what you're doing. So maybe like homesteadtools.com. Looks like that's not available. But once you find a domain, you can get it. And you could also search like Namecheap and other places out there, but getting a domain through Hostinger is a really similar price, maybe an extra $1 per year. And it saves, in my opinion, a lot of effort of having 2 different accounts with your credit card on both of them and having to worry about, whenever your credit card expires, you have to update both of them. I think it's worth it just to have them all. And plus, you don't have to worry about connecting your domain. It's all just on Hostinger. That's usually what I do. That's what I recommend as well. All right, so that'll bring us to this page right here, something that looks similar to this. Sometimes it looks a little bit different, but essentially this is the WordPress dashboard. A quick crash course on this. On the left side, we have essentially all the different menus we can get into. So if we want to make a new blog post, if we want to make a new web page, we can do all of that here, and I'll talk about this in a second. The first thing we want to do is go down to Appearance and click on Themes. Now we're going to choose a theme. I usually just go with Astra, so let's say Add Theme. We can look for Astra. Type in Astra, hit enter, there it is. This is free to use, so I'll say install, and then we can activate this theme, and we'll have Astra installed. So activate, there we go. All right, now you should see something that pops up right here that says, let's get started with a starter template. If you don't see that, you can go down to plugins and install starter templates, but this really should be popping up here. I'm gonna say get starter templates. And this is a good way to give us a full pre-built website that's ready to go with our product. And all we have to do is just, change the text and the photos to match whatever we're actually selling. This also installs all of the plugins for us like WooCommerce and Elementor and everything like that. Now we can click on e-commerce, online shop, or you can see e-learning if you want to sell online courses or something like that, but online shop's fine. We can sell whichever one you choose, you can sell a digital product very easily with WooCommerce, and I'll show you how to do that. It acts very similar to a physical product, just obviously without the shipping. So looking at these, some of them are premium, some of them are free, some of them are good, and some of them are bad, that's for sure. This is a basic one. This is a basic one as well. Let's go with this one for now. So we can upload our logo, we can choose the color palette that we want. Maybe for growing, we go mostly green. We can choose the fonts that we want, and we can say continue. Now we can choose what features we want on there. Maybe you want to have appointments and bookings. I mean, that doesn't really make sense. You have a contact form, page builder, e-commerce. Let's go with all this. I think this looks fine as is. We can enter our name, submit, and build my website. And then just sit back and wait a couple minutes. All right, so now we can view our website, and you'll see it's pretty much built for us. There's not a whole lot we have to do other than change like the text and the images, as I mentioned. So I have a full video about how to redesign the website, but let's talk about how to add our product. If we click on the WordPress logo on the top left here, it'll bring us back to the dashboard. We have a lot more going on. You might have noticed there's a bunch of things added over on the left side, one of them being WooCommerce, and below that, products, which is managed by WooCommerce. So we can click on products, and I want to show you how to add a digital product here. They added a bunch of physical ones just as dummies to make the website. Let's say add a new product. We'll get rid of those later. So add a new product, and then we can call this one plant germination shelf plan, and I'm just going to describe the product right there and say generate with AI, a little description and everything. That's what we can do. We don't have to. You can put in your own product description here, but down here we want to select a simple product because there's no variants, just one basic thing to download. We can have the price, so maybe this is, there it looks like the AI just added a bunch of stuff. There we go. But the price, we could say maybe this is going to be like $8.99, but you can compare at, or maybe it's $12.99, but it's on sale for $8.99. $8.99. And we want to select downloadable and virtual product, so that way it's not something that's actually being shipped. The downloadable file right here, we can add files, select file name, and this is going to be PDF plans. We can choose the file. We're just going to drag and drop a file right here. Insert the file. So we have a URL for that. And you can have multiple files as well. Maybe you want to have one that's just like the CAD file on here, or maybe you want to have more images or anything else, maybe a short video showing yourself putting it together. You can have all those files right here. Download limit, you can say you can download it maybe one time per person or unlimited. I'm going to go back to, let's say 4 per person looks fine. And we could have it expire if you wanted to. Now we can choose the slug for this, PDF plan. We can have a description. And we can add some images up here on the right in product gallery. So this is really important. You want to add good images, but now I'm just going to say publish, and we have our first product ready to go. Now, like I said, there's a whole lot to talk about when you're talking about Hostinger and WordPress here. I have a full tutorial on how to build your website, how to design it, how to make anything on WooCommerce. So I recommend checking out that video for the next steps here. But I really just wanted to kind of take a little detour out of this video to show you how to make a digital product, because in my full tutorial, I mostly focus on physical products, but really the key is to go virtual and downloadable, select those boxes and upload the files here. And then you'll be able to sell just like a regular product, but it's a downloadable product that when they check out, they just click download and the customer gets it immediately.